We finally get a look at Blackout 2.0, or what they're calling Black Ops Royale, which from the trailer, it basically looks like it's the original Blackout. Some of these features that we've already kind of seen in Endgame. So there's kind of a lot to talk about. We'll go ahead and go through a lot of those things. As you can see, all those different bullet points. Here's kind of like the roadmap. We get the overview of the map, which if you guys have already played Endgame and Avalon, you kind of already know what that kind of looks like. There's attachment kits, which we're going to dive into. We got some exotic weapons, which if you played Endgame, wonder how similar those are. And I think this one's redeploy towers is a way for them to solve one of the issues with the Blackout originally, which back then, Battle Royales didn't have a way for you to come back. So if you played in a quad, you died off rip, you spectated for 25 minutes. Not necessarily the most engaging gameplay loop. Having your friends back out, or you just wait for them to go ahead and finish out the match. So that looks like some changes there, some kill streak changes, some operator challenges. That looks like a returning thing that we had in Blackout, where you do a specific task, maybe you get a specific skin, and then this will be 100 players in quads. I don't know necessarily about that. Because the map is huge. If you play Endgame, it is a massive map. I don't know if 100 players, even though the original Blackout did have 100 players and it was a fairly large map. Some different movement stuff. We get the wall jump, grapple hook, wingsuit, some activities, cradle breaches, surveillance drones, surprise shipments, and more. Okay. And then coming in Season 2 Reloaded, some different changes with perks, competitive event for ranked, Warzone, and then we get Extreme Resurgence, LTM. And before we get too deep into that, we do have a sponsor, which we'll do now. Today's video is brought to you by Factor Meals. It's a company I've been working with for quite a while, and they deliver fresh, never frozen, ready to eat, dietitian approved meals straight to your doorstep. And on top of the convenience of showing up to your door, it also allows you to skip meal prep and cleanup, because basically after 2 minutes, you'll be ready to eat. And each meal is made without the refined seed oils, refined sugars, artificial colors, or sweetener. And I think for me personally, it makes it super convenient on my weight loss goals, because I'm down 60 pounds, still got about 15, 20 to go, but it just allows you to already know what you're going to do. You already kind of get your proper macros, which for me is very convenient. So to get started, head over to factor75.com or click the link to the top of the description and use code JGODFB50 for 50% off your first box and free breakfast for the first year. Again, that's JGODFB50 at factor75.com for 50% off your first order plus free breakfast for a year. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Welcome back. How to play the Black Ops Royale way. What is Black Ops Royale? This is a free-to-play battle royale experience with new influences by the original Blackout. Black Ops Royale is on a new map with the gameplay that rewards scavenging for greater gear and eventual domination of all rival squads. There are clear influences from the core Blackout experience, like bullet drop and weapon handling, as well as the armor system, the use of the trauma kit, which for those that didn't play Blackout 8 years ago, trauma kit was a way for you to overheal. Instead of having 150 health, you use the trauma kit that puts you up to 200. And then obviously you had some armor, which in Blackout, armor worked as a way as mitigation so that the bullets would do less damage, incoming damage, not actually give you additional health. Capturing the Blackout pacing, traversal, and combat feel in the modern way, this isn't a remake. It's a unique experience that pays homage to the Blackout core gameplay while keeping the flow of the match feeling right for Call of Duty Warzone players. How many players? So there'll be 100, which we saw, 25 quads team to begin with, dropping into Avalon with an ever-shrinking perimeter. The location of the electrified bounty shifts to another part of the map, the start of each match, to ensure that the entire map is playable across games. What makes this Battle Royale mode different? Unlike the usual Warzone BR, there's no loadouts, with all players beginning on equal footing. You drop into fray with only a pistol and a wingsuit. There are no buy stations. There is no gulag. There is no in-game cash. You're here to gear up, control the chaos, and annihilate rivals. So there's no contracts either. Obviously, if you remove the cash system, there's no system related to that. So gear up, seek out critical weapons and armor upgrades, chase high-tier power whenever it appears. And we've seen some of that in the trailer stuff, which we can't really show much of the trailer other than video, because I think they have copyrighted music in there. Control the chaos, cradle breaches, hold unknown threat, and unmatched rewards, which we see some stuff related to zombies effects in there. Annihilate all rivals, strike fast with the wingsuit, convert your arsenal into victory as the last team alive. How do I gear up proficiently? Find a weapon, armor, equipment, ground loot, supply boxes, and be on the lookout for consumable perks, as well as equipment to level up your armor. So consumable perks, that worked in the previous Blackout is you'd use it and it would last for a certain amount of time. I don't know if it was 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or however long it lasted. And then you'd have that perk for a certain amount of time. I guess we'll see if they get into that because it says consumable perks. Each weapon has preset archetypes. If you find one that fits your playstyle, you can upgrade it using a kit around the world. What happens if I'm eliminated? You have 2 chances to redeploy, either by using a scavenge redeploy token, allowing you to jump back into the match, or your team can activate a redeploy tower, which is similar to Apex Legends. And then the token is a system that we had before, but hopefully those aren't so plentiful that you're just on loop being able to respawn. How do I obtain the best loot? By successfully scavenging and upgrading your armament, tactically using equipment including the Blackout elements integrated into Black Ops Royale, such as a wingsuit, grappling hook, and sensor dart, RCXD trauma kit, and both the perk and armor systems. You're also here to control the chaos and claim higher tier loot in Cradle Breaches, the spiritual successor of Blackout Zombie Zone, which we're aware of. So scavenge to survive. So an infill drop-in operation Eclipse from the formation of the VTOL alongside your adversaries with nothing more than a wingsuit, 2 plates of attached armor, a knife, and a Jaeger 45 pistol. So map update, we get Avalon. That's kind of what it looks like. First introduced as large-scale endgame map. Avalon is a big map, which they've had for a while. We were already kind of expecting it coming. You're ready to learn firing. Okay. So after infill, weapons and archetypes and upgrading. So this is going to be the interesting part, I think. The weapon rarity and build archetypes. So let's get in here. So as usual, looted weapons have rarity value and scavenged during the early matches. These are predominantly common rarity, appearing with the gray outline like we see here. And then you pick it up, the framing, the box info. So you'll get a magazine at first. So they'll start with the suppressor, it looks like, for all of these covert. That's the archetype. So it's guaranteed. You already know it's going to have like the suppressor on it. And then when you get a green version upgraded, it'll automatically give you an extended mag. And then you get the mobile recoil underbarrel, and then you get a 2x optic, and then the mid-range barrel. Even though there won't be like get your loadout meta, these archetypes will definitely have a meta. We'll know that, oh, this archetype on the Maddox is the best archetype. You just got to get it to at least blue, and then you're like golden for the match, and that's kind of what you'll be on the search for. You'll probably have like 6-10 different weapons that you can choose from, and 3 or 4 of them will be the floor loot that you're actually like hunting for. And that's typically how battle royales work. There's usually about 3 to 5 weapons that you're going to go after. Even if there's not loadouts, there's still clearly defined chase metas that you're going to go after. Hopefully the floor loot, though, is even if you have this gray one, you theoretically should be fine to compete with anyone who has a legendary one. When you get the gray version, it'll just show this tree, but you'll have the gray version. And then when you go to green, you'll know that you have these 2. And then the blue, you'll know that you have those 3. All right, pretty straightforward. Initial details, weapon build archetypes. The archetypes denoted in the build theme will appear above the weapon name in your HUD. Okay, so there's going to be a table that kind of breaks it down. So we get the covert archetype, focuses on silencer type and magazine type, but there's 3 other attachments that can complement the stealth play style. Attachment intel, your HUD displays all the predetermined attachments, which we just already talked about, and then you're locked to the specific upgrade path. And you'll just find these things. So instead of finding a specific attachment that, oh, I need it, which kind of solves a little bit of problem that Blackout had, simplifies that process, because then you'd be like, oh, I need this optic or whatever. Now you know, okay, if I get this one, I upgrade it to legendary, I get everything, and I'm going to have a kitted weapon. Almost like a Fortnite variant of it. Kind of simplifies it a little bit. So attachment kits are found in ground loot within supply boxes or as activity rewards are attachment kits. They're easily spotted due to the purple glow around them. Kits automatically increase the rarity, add the next attachment. And the more attachment kits you find, oh, so they're all going to look the same. Yeah, they'll all look the same. So it's not like you can just happen upon a legendary and it'll upgrade you to the max. You have to find 1, 2, 3, and then 4 of them. All right. If you see an attachment kit, grab it while holding the gun you wish to upgrade, which can include your infield pistol. The kit immediately adds an attachment to the weapon you are carrying and adds a rarity level to it. The fully maxed out weapon secure as many kits as possible. You'll need all 5 of the predetermined attachments to be used. Global class benefit. In addition to archetype class benefit, weapons gain a general global class benefit in every rarity tier, common gray. The global class applies regardless of the individual archetype theme and consistency stack. Each rarity tier commonly. Okay, so note on recoil. Fully automatic weapons feature increased recoil at common gray rarity. Compared to the same weapon in Call of Duty Warzone modes. Upgrade these using kits to improve the recoil and increase the potency of these weapons. Okay, so in addition to whatever, regardless of the actual attachment, there's actually other passive bonuses just from upgrading the rarity. Note that the bullet velocity, bullet drop, in addition to the global weapon class benefits you receive as you upgrade a weapon, expect bullet drop to significantly improve for all weapons at the type of rarities. These stack as you upgrade chosen weapon rarity. This fully means fully upgraded legendary weapon would stack the following benefits 4 times. No benefits, 1 set of benefits for green, 2 sets, 3 sets, and then 4 sets. So right here, this is a recon one. Those are all gold. Okay, so if it's gold, it'll already say the path is complete. And then it shows what you're kind of getting for that. So extended mag 2. Interesting. This is kind of one of those things that isn't as important. You know that just stacking better benefits makes the gun better. The 5%, 10%, 15% is really not all that important. You just know that bigger number is better for these, and that's kind of how it'll work. So this one, it's showing that you'll get around 10% buff to horizontal and vertical recoil when you go to uncommon rarity. You also get a faster reload of about 10%. So that basically you get 3 types of buffs as you get each of these. So you get a double buff there, and then hip fire spread, a minor one, and then reload. So you're just kind of buffing the weapon and simplifying it so the attachments almost kind of don't even matter, right? So snipers, marksman rifles, light machine guns. So you kind of get all that. That's for all the uncommon. They'll have their own. And then as you go improve, you'll have those better variants of those improvement, which again doesn't really matter. Bigger number is better as you go to legendary. That's going to be your meta goal, is to upgrade the rarity of the weapon. When it comes to the assault rifles, you're going to have a few different options. You're going to get close quarters, recon, and then covert, which is the suppressor, because this is a little bit of a slower gun. You're probably not going to use it up close, so that makes sense. The recon, covert, you know, so it kind of goes down of those different archetypes. Submachine gun, you're going to have 2 different ones as well. Probably like sniper support, more aggressive, those types of things. And then shotguns, you're going to have 2 as well. So each of these basically have 2 archetypes. And then potentially they could add a 3rd archetype if, like, maybe the AK, they wanted to do a close quarters one, they could, or offer a covert one. What this also means, if you like to run suppressors, you won't be able to run an M15 because it just won't come with. But the Maddox would. So then maybe the Maddox is kind of what you lean towards if you want to stay off the minimap. Since there aren't going to be UAVs, it doesn't look like, maybe we'll get to that point. But if there aren't UAVs, then not popping up on the minimap from suppressed fire could be super valuable. And then we kind of go through there. So you get the different archetypes for those various weapons. And it doesn't look like we're doing the M8. So there are a few guns that are just missing from this, which is perfectly. So they're just simplifying the game. We were kind of an idea of what that is. Pretty straightforward. What archetypes guns fit into. They've fit into those for a while. They're just kind of more simplifying the system so people don't got to think about the loadout. Exception to the rule, exotic weapons. So under normal circumstances, the upgrade path of the weapon ends at legendary orange rarity. But there are certain circumstances during a match where you might uncover weaponry more devastating and unique abilities. These weapons have more than 5 attachments, usually 8, with an ultra gold rarity level, are already fully upgraded and may have unique abilities. These are known as exotic weapons and highly prized. In fact, these could be kind of broken. So you're going to get the full kit, which is going to be absurd. And then I guess you'll see kind of what they are. They're going to have way less recoil and stuff like that. Heads up display. So the HUD is kind of what we've seen already. Like, this isn't a new HUD does. Cool. Explaining the HUD for a novice to the game. So inventory menu. So you're going to be able to hold on to 5 perks, it looks like. And then you have your tactical, which By default, you'll have this, but I guess you could swap it out instead of having a grapple hook, streak, field upgrade, and then you have your weapons, and then all your ammo there. So simplified menu. So you can kind of see your upgrade path as well. They simplified it there so that you can see that, oh, this one's, I need another, I want a bigger mag, I need to upgrade the rarity. And then you kind of have it there for your secondary. So it looks like they brought back the original perks, some of them. Awareness Brawler was completely broken. So ground loot and supply boxes reward and activate when you want to use them. Okay, so they work on the timer system as well. Maximum of 5 carried perk, quickly intuitively swap and activate from your inventory. Apply the perk, close inventory, queue the second additional perk. This immediately click on the next perk and you can hot swap. Once acquired perks have 3 states for them. You can save them for later, saved for a teammate, and drop for them, and when you activate them. Interesting. It says indicates short time around 2 minutes. Long indicates 4 minutes. And the medium indicates between those, probably around 3 minutes. So a good thing they tell us there right there. We don't even have to really test. Between 2 and 3.5. Okay, so it's all there. So short will be a 2-minute duration. Increase volume of enemy footsteps by a modest amount. You also gain the ability to track enemy footprints. This perk is best utilized when you're about to engage and investigate an enemy in the area. Brawler, this is long. Gain amount of additional health when engaging in melee attacks. Providing bonus your health is fully healed. Strong increase to melee damage. Adds a tactical sprint ability. Kind of broken. It was broken. It was one of the most broken perks because it would just catch you off guard. Medium duration of Engineer allows you to see equipment, kill streaks, repair itself time. Okay. It will repair itself over time. Ooh, that's cool for the vehicle. And then maybe like a helicopter play, you pop that and then it repairs the vehicle instead of having to go to a station. You get Iron Lungs, increase how much you can hold your breath. They literally just copied what they did, right? You got Looter, supply box, reason, proximity are outlined, modest increase in the chance to find higher rarity. For special items, Medic, downed allies return to the fray with impressive bonus health. You can insert armor plates more rapidly. You can revive yourself and others more quickly. Mobility. No fall damage. So I guess you would pop that one and then you run in and revive your teammate if you are like in a position where maybe you pop a smoke, you pop the perk, you go in, you tap, revive them really quickly. Okay, so mobility, no fall damage. You swap weapons more rapidly and reload more quickly. So if you're on top of a building and you just want to jump on someone, since it says no fall damage, not reduced, none, so that you can go ahead and make some kind of crazy plays where you're not having to pop your wingsuit. Outlander. So medium, reduce the damage you take if caught in the circle collapse and increases the movement speed in which you circle collapse both a modest amount. All right, so if you're going to make a gas play, I guess, you can sense when people are looking at you. This was a cool one before. It would make the little audio noise. During long, okay, reinforced, explosive, fire-based, damage reduced by sizable amount. You count that down if you're stuck while full health. Skulker. Increase the movement speed, minor amount. Increase your crouch and prone speed, modest amount. Increase your swimming speed by an impressive amount. Okay. Squad link. When you ADS, enemies are automatically pinged. All right. So then we got our tactical. Straightforward there. Sensor dart. That returns. A lot of people would put those on vehicles and they would drive around to double check the buildings in the area. That's kind of how that part goes. And then grapple hook is definitely the navigator. People could swap. Since your inventory, you're not going to be able to hold like 4 of these different things. It won't have like the same concept, but you'll probably pop the sensor dart. Then you grab the grapple hook, type of thing if you're playing more aggressive. Confirm grapple hook. Return grapple hook. Confirm sensor dart. Lethals. Okay. Pretty straightforward stuff there. Field upgrades. We get a bubble dome, bubble shield, trauma kit. That returns. And then the other things that we've already been using. Trauma kit. So plus an additional 100 temporary units to new. So you'll be at 250. Okay. So tiered armor vest. This is where we kind of segued perfectly into it. Certain important items that aren't utilized like normal equipment and either stored in your inventory menu, shared, or used later in the match. Used immediately upon access. Here's a list. Ammunition, armor satchel, tiered armor vest. We get level 1, 2, and 3. Not a fan, but I guess people like. Safecracker Drive allows access to guild safes across Avalon and Strongbox crack activity, uncommon loot. Note, Activity kits upgrades your held weapon or both rarity attachments by 1 level. See early blog. Okay, we saw that already. All right, so here's the really important part, right? Does that have a helmet for tier 3? That could be good. So mitigation in Blackout Royale, you locate special protective enhancements known as tier armor vests. These don't have to be found in linear progression. You can find tier 2 armor vests without needing a tier 1. So it's not like the weapon upgrade. Each of these 3 tier offers a degree of damage mitigation on top of your usual plate protection. Mitigation does not apply if you have no plates equipped. Mitigation only applies damage done to plates, effectively toughening them. Mitigation applies to all incoming damage, whether ballistic, explosive, or melee based. You cannot equip a lower tier if you have a higher tier. Armor tier persists until the operator is slain or equips a higher tier. Armor tier cannot be dropped or given to another teammate, though they are available to loot via the rival operator after they are slain. So you can't drop them, but if you die, people could pick them up. So tier 1 provides a mitigation when you have plates, a moderate, primarily found as ground loot, uncommon. Provides greater mitigation when you have plates. Rare ground loot, reward for completing strongbox crack activities. So they will have those activities, not necessarily contracts, which we've already kind of seen a few different teases for types of activities. And then provides optimal mitigation when you have plates. Very rare sea or land. You'll start in a VTOL, which, yeah, and then you get wingsuit, ground movement, vehicles, and movement across the water and tidal flats. Okay, however, the river and shoreline, predominantly in Southwest Avalon, will be heavily modified, feature numerous ways to cross the waters. Zip lines and all that type of stuff. So you can see that this area has been reworked. They removed the land, like the water from this area here in orange, so you could cross by land without having to swim across. So they actually did modify quite a bit of this area to be a playable space. They added a significant amount here, through here, and then through the green area. So quite a bit, and then you connect to the different lands there. And that's throughout. So this will be after season 3. They'll add more stuff. Okay, that's good. I mean, that's good. I was thinking like it would be way too much water. It's still probably way too much water, but so different POIs, you can see those. We're going to play it, you know. All right, so Gulag gone, redeploy system. So unlike Verdansk, once you eliminated, there's no enemy cellmate to take down. Before returning to Black Ops Royale, the Gulag is closed, and there are only 2 ways to be brought back. So automatically use the token when you die. That makes straightforward sense. This is a lot like a Rebirth Island style token. You land, if you die off rip, you immediately spawn back. Redeploy towers. One of the main activities in Black Ops Royale is the locating and capture of Gulag Tower. Expect these areas to be heavily trafficked. As the team can capture the tower, activating it, remaining within the radius, you can redeploy the entire team. It's like Apex Legends. Vehicles, so those are the vehicles we get. More activities. So activities reward. So we're going to have a target uplink station, surprise shipment, surveillance drone. These are a lot of endgame activities. Relay, antenna, okay, activity target uplink, bounty target and enemy loot. Okay, target uplink station. So this is like our typical bounty. Search for player bounties, nice. Surprise shipment, that'll be these, and you get an armor satchel. That'll be allow you to hold more plates. So it's different than the armor vest. So you're gonna have to loot 2 different armor things. Surveillance drone. So additional activity reveals and loot. So I guess you'll know where certain things are based off of that. A strongbox crack. This is where you're going to get armor level 2. So these will definitely be a meta thing because armor mitigation, like damage mitigation, is huge. So that means probably at the start of the match, you'll do one of these to get an armor satchel. These will be pretty quick. And then you'll land over here, or maybe you'll do this one and then you'll get the armor satchel because then you'll have better damage mitigation. Relay antenna. You get a temporary UAV and redeploy drone. Okay, cool. And then redeploy tower. Squad mate revive. You know, you might not need that, but you could camp these out. If you're a full squad, you'll know that you have the numbers advantage because typically someone's not going to go to revive a teammate unless they're down players. So if you're in a full quad, these could be meta to camp because what will end up happening is you know that it's only a trio. or a duo coming to try and make this revive happen. So you get supply drop, randomized loot, and then there's ammo caches. So cool. Cradle breaches, hordes of high-end loot. This is where you'll get you get a mystery box. Okay, this is big. So it says prepare your squad mate, adjust your wingsuit throughout the Season 2 Reloaded begins on Wednesday, March 11th. And then it says, then mark your calendars for the launch of Black Ops Royale on Thursday, March 12th at 9 p.m. or midnight, the 13th on the East Coast. We're going to get a nighttime update? Okay, I'm with that. I like that. All right, so overall, they leaned in heavy to it. Not a huge surprise. It is a surprise that they went all in on that, but not surprising. Like, none of the things in there are like, ooh, my God. I don't know how people will receive it. I wasn't a fan of the original Blackout. It looks like they've addressed some of the things that I didn't necessarily like about the original. But it was a time period where it was a totally different experience. It was a paid experience. It's free to play. The game came out 8 years ago, so I know most of the people haven't played it. COD people have, but most people that came to COD in 2019 have no clue Blackout. They never touched it. And we're going to actually be able to play with the wider FOV. Let me know kind of your thoughts. I'm still interested in it. We'll see kind of what happens with it, if it's worth playing. See you on the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.